appreciate you all driving from very long distances to be here today to learn more about vintage radio equipment, home brewing of radios, and also learning more about the history of single sideband. But more importantly, we have a wonderful guest speaker this morning that's going to talk to us about making our audio for our receivers and transmitters both sound much better and more efficient, maybe bust the pile-ups a little bit better, easier. Next time we work David down in South Sandwich Island, he might hear us. If you go, yep. But anyway, thank you so much for coming. It's, as you can tell, it's a really beautiful venue to have a ham fest like this, and I know Wes would have been very, very pleased to see all of you all here today. Still thinking about single sideband and the work that he did back in the late 1940s and early 50s. So Bob, you ready to take it? Here we have Bob Heil, K9EID.
Okay. Thank you, Nick. Greetings to everybody. Yay. I'm cameraman, audio man, and just all about ham radio, having fun dude today. But I think we have everything. We're going to document all this. I hope we'll be able to make things happen and have it on the internet somewhere, because there's going to be a lot of things said here today and taught today. One of the things that always bug me is our receiving audio. Most people know about all of my background, and we're always talking about microphones. Well, it's pretty easy today to get a good microphone signal into the transmitter. That's pretty easy. All kinds of little equalizers and stuff, and many of you have been through some of those workshops with me. But nobody talks about receiving. And the receiver is so important. And we're going to talk about audio reinforcement for the receivers. And I've put some things up for you that will be meaningful to you. Because if you can't hear them, you can't work them. And if you tune around the band today, you know how that is. Let's see if we can get this little guy going. Okay. The focus has always been on transmit. And the specs for your audio, the audio from your receiver, they're never published. Did you ever notice that? You can buy a $15,000 transceiver. You never see the specs of the audio. And all of you pay attention. Oh, I want to know the bandwidth, and I want to... What about the receiver? You know why? Because most of them, and I mean about 99% of them, $15,000 to $400, have 10% distortion in that stupid little 1 watt output. And I know you're going to go home and say, yeah, no, not mine. I'm telling you the truth. I work for these companies, all 3 of them, and it really, really gets me upset because we do not have good audio. And it's awful. Just a couple of watts is okay, but boy, the distortion is terrible. So what we want to do is we want to fix that. Well, I'm going to buy the matching speaker. That's a 50-cent speaker in a box. This is not funny, it's sad. Because they have fooled amateur radio for decades. Oh, Bob, I got a matching speaker. Yeah, it's painted the same color and it's got the name on it. That's the matching. Nobody pays attention to what's inside the box. And that just infuriates me. And then it's driven by that little horrible 1 watt at highly distorted IC. It's awful. First of all, let's go back a little step. How many here know about Dr. Fletcher and Dr. Munson? This is so sad. It should have been the second question on the amateur radio test because it's the most important thing that happens to you. What is this all about? It's about audio, right? Listening, what your ears hear and what you produce for somebody else to hear. Back in the 20s, the telephone people...
Slide didn't change behind.
It didn't.
Nope.
Nope. Boop, boop.
Use the key you used the first time.
I tried that. It didn't work. It does it here. It didn't do it there. I'll be darned. Ugly. Let's get this thing happening here.
Try spacebar.
Let me do that and do that.
Nope.
Wow. Well, that's okay. That's okay. We can make it without it. We don't need the rest of this anyway, really. The Fletcher-Munson curve, 1920s, the telephone company put up these wonderful things called telephones, 2 wires from New York to LA. And about every 50 miles they had a relay station to keep the voltage up and to keep the frequency right. And when they got out to California, it was fine on the meters. But when they listened, this is what they heard. This is what they heard. It's like, how come I can't understand you very well? Can't understand you because of one thing. What was that one thing? It happened to be your ears. And so they put Dr. Fletcher and Dr. Munson on the case. And the case was our ears. We do not hear flat. That's the problem. We have big holes in our hearing. And you need to study that. You need to understand. And so many times the guys will say, oh, I don't need no darn equalizer. You don't need that Heil. Yes, you do. Everything you listen to is equalized. Everything. Little bitty radios, your car radio, your telephone, your television. Well, I don't have no equalizer on it. No, but the engineers know about Dr. Fletcher and Dr. Munson. And they've already pre-equalized it for you. If they didn't, that's what you'd hear. All this booming and you couldn't understand it. Why? Because of our ears. Then they also found one very important thing. Between about 2K and 4K is the most articulate speech. Being able to understand the spoken word, the difference from an F or an S, a P or a B, they're all in that range. If you don't have that and that nice balance, and balance is the key word here, you're going to be in trouble. Because you will not be able to understand it. And there it is, right there. Look at this. It looks like a ride at Disneyland, and you're telling me, oh, I have perfect pitch, my ears are perfect. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, I'm just telling you what Bell Labs discovered about our ears. But here's another really important thing. Maybe not for us. You'll notice up at about 120 dB, it's almost flat. That's why everybody that listens to big-time rock and roll music likes it loud. Why? Because at that level, everything is flat. They can hear all the cymbals, they can hear all the vocals, they can hear all the bass. We're not going to listen to things 110 dB in amateur radio. We're going to be listening down here. Now what do you got? You got this big hole. Nobody's talking to you about it. I am so at all these publications because they haven't talked about it. Why? It's the most important thing. Back in 1982, I started learning about this from Paul Klipsch. How many people know Paul Klipsch? He was the father of hi-fi, and I was blessed by him to come to me. He called me, wanted to know if I was the guy that had this 20,000 watt PA. Yeah, I was. Well, we were one of the first to do it. I'm just a ham. I didn't know the rest of the world wouldn't do it, wasn't doing that. It's true. Joe Walsh and I We were out with the James gang doing these incredible things. We're two hams playing around and making things happen. Well, let me tell you, Paul Klipsch, he took me under his wing and taught me things, and he taught me a lot of things. And he was the guy that guided me to Bell Labs. You got to find out, Heil. Your system sounds terrible because you don't know about the Fletcher-Munson curve, and you need to equalize and you need to build things properly. Well, I came up with a microphone element. It's probably, it's been the largest selling microphone element ever. Hundreds of thousands of them since 1982. Why? Because I applied the Fletcher-Munson curve to it. Look what I did. The HC5, look at that. We put, where is it? Between 2 and 4K, right where we need the articulation. And it's not rolled off totally, but it has a nice balance. Then the contest guys came to me and said, oh, we want it even better. And I built, now wake up here, the worst sounding microphone on the planet. The HC4. And you'd say, boy, you're proud to say that? Yes, I am. Because it was a tool for one segment of amateur radio. Or an ambulance driver, or anybody that needed to get the spoken word properly. Was it an S, or an F, or a P, or a D? And that all happens right here. So I put a 10 dB spike, and it's just in your face. And so from there, it went crazy. Because the situation is, we can tailor our transmitters to do all of that. And today, what do you do about the receiver? We got the microphones together. We've taken care of that for you. What do you do about that receiver? It's awful. Same situation. We've got to increase the speech articulation. We've got to lower the distortion. And we get this listener fatigue. Man, you listen to your radio for hours and it's like, well, you got to go away for a while. And if you had audio equalization, you could change that. Just changing a little bit of audio equalization really helps. And how you do that is a very simple thing. You want to take a little mixer, and we're talking about something that costs $50, not expensive. Take the output of your receiver, not the speaker out, because that's got all that distortion. Almost every transceiver has a line out. And for our boat anchors, go in, we're all capable of this, and do a line out, come out of the product detector. In some cases, they have it. And it just means so much when you do that. Because now we're able to take this particular line out, put it through the mixer, and bingo, you can adjust bass, mid, and treble. And when you do this, very, very important, you must have 3 bands of EQ. Let me show you why. And this is a big deal. Again, listening to the, I'll show you what I do in my own station. I never use the volume controls on my one console. The 75A4 comes up here. The 7800 comes up here. The 2000 comes up here. 7600, the ELAD, all of these things. And what's that? Mosley. Oh, okay. We're going to talk about that later. And the I can have all of those receivers, and I can have them all at the same time, if I wanted. What do you do with it? Okay, so we have it. Well, it's an output of about a half a volt. Here's the most miraculous little piece you're ever going to buy for your ham radio station. Everybody should have this thing. What is it? It is a powered near field monitor. When we build these $1 million plus studios, we got $30,000 of speakers up here, but we need near field. Headphones are not good because we have the consoles and they're in our way. So we take these near field monitors and mount them on a stand about this far away from your ears. It's great. But this particular one has power amplifiers built in because that mixer is going to drive something. It won't drive a speaker. It's got to drive a power amp. This power amp. It's about 0.12%, 0.1, 0.2. And it has two, it comes, when you buy the whole set, it comes with two of these. The other one is a slave. There's two 35-watt amps at that very low distortion. Let me tell you, the little 4-inch or 5-inch that's in here and this tweeter, you have never heard audio like this. Never. And it's so important that you spend time looking through that. Here's why you need to have 3-band EQ. All of these mixers have bass and treble. Now think about this a minute. You probably have never thought about this. You got an equalizer. Oh, I don't need that, Bob. I got an equalizer. Yeah, it's got bass and treble on it. Where are the filters? They're usually set at 80 hertz for the bass and 10K for the treble. That does us no good. So you're wasting your time and your money on these things. So what do? Very simple. We do 3-band EQ. The bass is somewhere in the 80-100 cycles. That's cool. But the mid-range is 2.5K and 12K. That's all we need right here. So it's got to have 3-band. Now, if you really want to do it right. Find a mixer that has a sweepable mid, meaning you can change the frequency of that filter. You can move it down here, and you've got plus or minus, boost or cut, at wherever you want to put it in this range. It is absolutely wonderful, and I don't understand why we're not hearing this. I don't sell this stuff. What we're talking about has nothing to do with Heil sound. I'm sending you some information that I've learned over the years from some of the greats. And it's sick that the ARRL, CQ Magazine, all of them, I put them all in the same, come on, man, teach us something. No, they rather just sell you stuff that doesn't mean a darn thing, the way I look at it. This means a lot. And I am amazed when I get around and do a lot of these programs. By the way, I do a lot of club programs on Skype. We're doing 2, sometimes 3 a week. Clubs need this kind of information. And all of us on Ham Nation, Gordon West and George, all of it, we do these things, not together, but they give you great programming. All you need is a Skype and away you go. But here you go. Now, here's proof of that. Let me show you what happens. Let me let you listen. Here's that bass control. I can roll it off. I can bring it up. If you want to sound like a WLS guy, fine, there you go. Well, we don't need that. We'll roll that off. But here's the mid-range, and you hear how important that is. But I can move it. I can take it up higher, or I can bring it down lower. 1, 2, hello, 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 hello. As I'm changing the frequency of that mid-range, depending on your own hearing. Where do you want it? You can go anywhere from about 400 cycles out to about 6K with this particular mixer. I'm not changing the level, I'm changing frequency response. Think about it. That is so important. The 12K here, well, that helps here with the extreme top end. Doesn't need much in amateur radio, but let me get this back to here. Okay. And I think that little demonstration will kind of help you understand where we're going with all of this. And you really, really need to pay attention. There's the parametric. That's that mixer. Here's the low at 80. And here's plus 15 or minus 15 at wherever you want to set it. Usually I put it around 2K, 2.5. But sometimes I want to listen a little higher or lower. I can do that. And you can too. But there's the key, JBL. And now you're going to say, oh my God, he was talking about $1 million studios. This thing is going to be outrageous. Yeah, it is. I paid $89 for that on eBay. Now let me tell you something. You paid $300 or $400 for that stupid matching speaker, and you got nothing but a 50-cent speaker. Don't say I don't know what I'm talking about, because I work with these companies, and it just irritates the heck out of me when I see them do that, and then I say, why don't you do something better? Well, that's a matter. They don't care. They have fooled you for years. Or matching. Same thing with our microphones. That's another subject. And that's why I got in this business. I got sick of all these MC50s and MD100s and all these matching microphones. Those guys do not make their own microphones. They're made by an OEM company in China. There's two companies over there that build most of them, and they're awful. But you got hooked with it. That's the way it goes. Headphones are also very important. We just broke the barrier on that with our new Pro 7. How? Why? What are you talking about? What I'm talking about is something I learned from Paul Klipsch. We were in the speaker business. We built thousands of speakers in the 70s for rock and roll sound systems. And Paul taught me how to tune the speaker to the cavity. Or the cavity to the speaker, one of the others. It's amazing. Well, nothing ever happens like that in ham radio until now. I've always wanted to do this, but I never had a big enough headset cavity to do it. Well, I did with this. This thing's huge. I've got one laying over there I have to show you. You want to check it out, this new Pro 7. I took the speaker, you take it out in free air, and you find out its resonant frequency. Then you tune the cavity to that frequency, and that's exactly what happened. And we're getting rave reviews because nobody's ever built a headset like that. It's gorgeous sounding for ham radio. But there again, nobody's paying attention to us. We've been doing it for 50 years. This is our 50th year in the business. And I'm just so pleased to tell you how much fun it is to continue to bring you these fun things. But not just fun, they're very worthy because we need this kind of information. But I want you to spend some time checking on some of these things you can do for your receivers. You will be able to hear things that you've never thought about before. And so I wanted to spend a few minutes with you, and I'll be around all day. I brought my prized little ICO station with me. I've been on the air since 1956. I started with a Harvey Wells. I should have brought that, Nick, but I loaded down Sap's car already, and so I...
One out in the flea market.
Is there? Cool. Well, that's what I started with. I still have it. And I use it on 3885 quite often each morning. You can find me there from 9 to 11 or so. But I want you to check over by... I brought a poster of a friend I met on the air. And I wanted him to be here, but he wouldn't do it. He's busy or whatever. WA4FTY. He's a Harvey Wells freak. I say that lovingly. He went out and built the rest of the Harvey Wells station. He has a TBS 50D, but he took a case of another one, stripped it, and built a receiver. Now, what's incredible about it is Wayne took a Gonset 4, the little 2-meter, the one that was narrow about, because he needed something skinny, and he put it vertically. I said, why did you use that 2-meter one? He said, because I had good AF, all the audio. I had all the IF. All I had to do was change the mixer frequency in the front end. And it's like, oh, no big deal. And then he built a 4400 amplifier in another case. And it's all, pictures are there. What a great thing. Wayne is something else. I think if we put him and Mike together, the world would probably be turned a couple of degrees one way or the other. I really believe that. But I love this hobby so much. And it all starts with me, believe it or not, with Wes Shum. And it was because of what I learned from building a 10B. And what does that mean? Why would that be so important to me? Well, I started learning about phasing. Phasing. What does that mean? See, we all know about it. We all know we know about phasing, but do we really know what it is? I didn't. I'm going to turn up this other microphone. You're probably never going to forget the next couple of minutes. It's going to be very, very interesting, and you're never going to get it. I have two microphones, and I'm trying to get the equalization different on there, but we're close. Okay, there we go. Phasing, what is that? How did Wes get rid of the carrier? How did he get rid of the other sideband? How'd that all happen? Did you just plug in something and it happened? No. A phenomenon called phase reversal. Yeah, I got phase dipoles and I got phase... But do you really know what we're talking about? I didn't. And I'm amazed every time I do this. Man, I get emails, I get phone calls. It's like, wow, how come I didn't know about that? Because it's going to make you think. I have these two microphones and they're both same level. What happens when I talk into this one or this one? This one sounds a little different because it's a recording mic. This one is out of phase. What happens when I talk into both of them? Nothing. At least 40, 50 down. Wait a minute. What are you talking about? They both work fine. Yep. Not together. They're out of phase. That's how Wes got rid of the carrier. That's how they got rid of the sideband. It's how your notch filter works. It's how your noise canceling headphones work. We could be here for hours talking about what means anything and relies upon phasing. I saw an advertisement a couple of days ago about a GMC truck. Anybody seen this? This is really cool. Wes Shum was right in front of my face when I saw this ad, and I'm not making this up. I think of him so often when anything phasing comes around, because I learned it with that 10B I built when I was 17 years old. GMC has a truck, and they have a microphone in the front of it picking up road noise. They feed it back through the audio system, and it is out of phase. You don't hear the road noise. Hello? Hello? Of course, they didn't tell you all that. They said, well, it's the new technology, and we get rid of... How about talking about where it came from and what it is? Well, they're not going to do that. But we know now how they did it. And all kinds of things rely upon this. And I have to tell you that so much I learned from building that 10B. And then I built a 20A, and then all through my life, I've just been a Central Electronics nut. And meeting Wes here a couple of years ago was just the greatest thing, because he was an icon to me all my life. And I keep relying on things I learned from building those great kits. So I'm really, really blessed to be here. I appreciate Nick putting all this together the last few years. But before we get too far, I want a couple of people to come up here. John and Diane, where are you at? Brittany's here. Okay, good. Come up here. We, all of us, we collectively, we have so much to pay to these people, because this would not have happened 4 years ago. I know it was Nick's great idea to do this, and it was marvelous, but we had to have a platform to do it, and these are the people that allows us to do that. I want you to meet Diane, John, and Brittany. And if you don't already know this is Wes Shum's daughter.
Hi.
Hey!
Welcome, everybody. This would make my father just so happy to know that you're all gathered here today. And actually, I'm about ready to leave within the next hour to bring my mother here, because she's expressed interest in coming and seeing everyone. And she turns 96 in about 2 weeks. Yeah, and she actually is K9EMP.
All right, John, thank you so much for all this.
Well, hello. I'm not used to talking much. Well, actually, I am, but as you all know. But welcome. We tried to keep you from freezing today, so we turned a little bit of the heat up. We'll try to adjust the humidity as the day goes by. But here's Brittany, Wes's granddaughter.
Hi, I'm Brittany, and I work with these guys. It's really cool to see everybody here, and there's some really awesome pieces I've been admiring, and I hope everybody just has like a really, really great weekend.
All right. Thank you so much. Yes?
Wes's finest product?
This is Wes's finest product right here. Yes.
I will tell you, it's actually one of four.
Four.
I have three sisters.
Okay. Well, I wanted to do that and pay tribute to them because none of this would happen well, I never been to a ham fest with a chandelier before, so this is pretty cool. Yeah, I hear you. Any questions we can go through quickly? Anybody have?
Bob?
Yes.
Powered speakers, I always have problems with RFI.
RFI.
Yeah.
I've never been able to get RF in this thing.
Really?
Never. And you saw what I do. I have a 12-channel Yamaha, and I put everything in it. My computer's in it, and I haven't had any problem. Of course, there again, we get into ground loops. How many days do we have to talk about that? Oh, I got all the ground. Yeah, you got too many grounds. I have all this stuff. My QSL cards are over. There's a bunch of stuff that's going to be free. My cards and a couple of little books and stuff. You want to pick that up. But these guys all the time, they get this stupid copper band. Oh, no. Because they ground all of that. Then they ground all their power amps. And then they plug this thing into the box that the old power company gives you. You got this fierce ground loop, and there's where the problem is. I have no grounds on my station, and people say, what? I have no grounds, none, zero, because I use balanced antennas, so there's nothing coming down that coax except RF coming in and out. The ground is done at the tower. Oh yeah, it's grounded really well. But that's the only connection to the power company is through the ground. There's no wire connecting that stupid copper strap and everything else, because you're going to put it right up to coax. There's where the problem comes. Balanced antennas so you can keep the RF in the station. But that's another subject for another day, and it's a very, I get in big arguments about it. There is no argument. It's science. It's the way it should be. There's a great piece by WB2WIK. Go into EHAM and check it out. He wrote the best treatise on grounding I've ever seen, and it tells you why and how. But no, I've never had any RF problems with these, and I haven't heard of anybody that has. So hopefully we're okay. And I've turned hundreds of people onto this little baby. Any other questions? Well, I hope you have a good time today. And as I said, I've got some things over there you want to take with you. I don't have a whole bunch of them, but check out my ICO. I love my little ICO. It's the best AM signal I've had on the air ever. But I have a lot of fun with it, and I know all of you do. And boy, there's such wonderful things. This is history. This is not going to happen again. So we're going to put some of this on Ham Nation in the next months or so, because there's going to be a lot of it here. How many watch Ham Nation? Now I'm going to ask you a question. Why don't you? It's one of the most important informational things ever. And it's not because of me. It's because of all the people on it. We just did our 258th show, I think. Do it every Wednesday night. But you don't have to be there. It's kind of nice to watch us live, especially as we're setting up and we don't know what the heck we're going to do. But go put Ham Nation into Google and you can bring up all of them. And all the subjects are there. I got a great... It's 63 and 5 about my phased array. Again, thank you, Wes Shum, for teaching me about phasing. I can get 15 dB front to back on 75 meters. And you're going to say, boy, that costs a lot of money. Yeah, it was a simple 43-foot piece of coax. That's all. I switch it in or out. I can go east or west. And it's all on our QRZ page, too, to show you. Don't miss that, because you do have room for it. You can do it. And man, where are you going to get 40 dB or 20 dB on 40 meters front to back? Where are you going to get that? Well, you got to have a big antenna. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's amazing. So those are all the things that we do on Ham Nation. We got this lots of grounding issues, and it's all kinds of fun stuff also. And once in a while, I have this guy from New Orleans, Nick Tusa, I think his name is. We have him on, and we're going to have him on again too after all of this. But please check it out. It's really a worthwhile thing of information for this hobby, and we're really blessed that we're able to do it. Leo Laporte is the guy that does it. So we'll see you throughout the day. Any other things we can help you with, let us know, and have fun with all this wonderful historic gear that's around today. Thanks, everybody.